All right, Mike. I've been loving the playlists that you've been putting together. I is there is tell me if this word is even a real word. I've called you a mixtapeologist.
If it's not a new word, it's a word now.
All right. That's how I'm describing you in these
All right, I'll
playlists that we're
take it.
putting together on 50for50.net, which are based on our top 5 plus other
We
things
throw
that
some
Mike
other
is
stuff in there.
putting up in there.
Yeah.
So, we're now doing the one on Tupac Shakur. We just got finished, putting out our episode, our 50 for 50 on All Eyes on Me. And for me to whittle down, list of songs, like, I think I wrote out about 18 songs of Pac's that I would kind of, like, put on a list of, like, these are my favorite Pac songs. Whittling it down to 5 was a little hard, but as I kind of did the exercise, I was like, "Okay, what actually it is these songs are the ones that are most meaningful to me when I hear them today."
Right.
And this may have been different from when I was 20, when the majority of this music was out there.
Sure.
So, let's do our countdown from 5 to 1. Up to you. Do you wanna start? You want me to start?
You can start.
Alright. Song number 5 for me in my Tupac Shakur top 5 is the, lead single off of his second album, "Holla If You Hear Me." Tupac does not have a great catalog when it comes to, like, music that I like to work out to, music that I'm, like, lifting weights to, or
Okay.
get in the right mindset to, in my younger days, play baseball or something, except this song. This song, I want to, like, punch through walls when I hear, like, just the message, the ferocity of this dude, and he's a young dude, but he's, like, lethal, like, on this song. I enjoy it so much, and still, I threw it on the other day, and I was like, "Yep, makes me feel the same way. I need to go shadow box or do something because I'm ready." So,
All
number
right.
5 for me is "Holla If You Hear Me."
All right. Number 5 for me was Dear Mama. It is just a poignant song. Um, I feel like everybody, whether they have a good relationship with their mother or a complicated relationship with their mother, can relate to something in the song. Um, and I know that all the mothers out there appreciated being shouted out as well. So Dear Mama is just like a very like emotional, like it speaks to who Tupac really was inside.
You know, I'm sure that through Afeni's life, because as we talked about on the 50 for 50 episode, through Tupac's childhood, she was not in good shape.
Right.
So she did clean herself up
Yes.
later in her life, which was awesome to see. Do you, when that song came out, I'm sure she was proud, but do you think there was a little bit of like, you kind of put my business out there, my guy?
I mean, he had done interviews already about her. Afeni Shakur was something of a public figure to an extent,
Right.
however many people were, cognizant of the Black Panthers and knew specifics about cases and stuff like that. So I don't know if it was totally like a situation where he was putting her on blast. And I also feel like they probably had a good enough relationship where they discussed it beforehand.
Yeah, I would imagine so too. But
Yeah.
just that line, like if you ever, like on Mother's Day, if you ever wanted to play this song for your
Might
mom,
want to take the line, even as a crack fiend, you
yes,
always were a
that's the
black queen
line where
out.
you
Yeah.
you probably press pause on the song before it
Okay.
gets there.
Start on the second verse.
All right, number 4 for me is, also from his second album. It is "Keep Your Head Up." It is it is still the moment where I kind of saw him as a different thing, like, not as not as a different artist necessarily, but as a, this guy actually kind of understands the world at a different level
Hmm.
than most of the hip hop that I hear. And that is not to shade some of the more conscious stuff, because there's some very smart hip hop out there. But sometimes when I listen to that stuff, I go, yeah, these guys are smart, but do they really understand kind of like the nooks and crannies of society in a sense? And so,
Right.
again, some of this is we're thinking about. I think about sometimes Tupac aspirationally of like what is the best version of Tupac, and I
Sure.
think this song is kind of like this is the best version of Tupac that you were thinking of as an artist.
I agree with you. Um, my number four is the California Love remix. I love the beat. I love the beat to that song. And it's fun Tupac, which you didn't get very much. Like he's not really trying to be like hardcore gangster. He's just like, I'm out on bail. I'm smashing chicks. I'm living my best life. It's great to be free.
Out on bail, fresh
Fresh
out
out of
of
jail,
jail, California dreaming.
dreaming. As soon as
Why
I
do you
step over
like
the
the
speed, I
remix
hear the hoochies.
better than the single version?
The beat. So the beat of that song is sampled from a song called "Intimate Connection" by a group called Clear. It's from like 1984. We had when I was growing up, we had that record, and it's just such like a smooth beat. Um, yeah, I think it's just a beat.
The Because the version of that came out as a single is more along the style of like the G-funk era of what Dr. Dre was doing, I felt.
Interesting. I kind of think the opposite. I think the remix sounds more G Funk. The album version to me sounds more East Coast kind of.
Hmm. I'll have to
It's
listen.
just got more like a,
I'll listen to them again.
yeah,
I don't
it's
listen to
more
the
aggressive.
I don't listen to the remix, the one that's on the album. I don't listen to that as often as the single
Right.
version, but yeah, I'll have
And
to.
also, shout out and rest in peace to Roger Troutman.
Yes. All right. This is 3 in a row for his second album, which
Wow.
I think in some ways kind of talks about like maybe where my biggest fandom was of his was when I was like 16, 17 years old. Like cuz that's how old we were when that album
That album
came
came
out.
out. Yeah.
And I Get Around. I Get Around is so singable as well, which I think is what makes it fun. Because it's like the lyrics are so simplistic and they're just
Yes.
fun and summery and barbecue and goofy and you get Money B. So I always think of that song when I think of like what the fun part of his hip hop career would have been like is like, okay, it's I Get Around was probably so much fun for him.
Right. My number three is For Me Against the World. It's old school.
That's a fun
And
song.
that's just a song that pays tribute. It's really his tribute to New York.
Yeah.
It's he kind of does the naming rappers and their popular songs thing. He talks about some very specific New York, like, games that kids played growing up. Like, it's very much like for all of the Tupac was a West Coast rapper stuff. Nobody from LA could have made a record like Old School. Old School was a very like New York centric song.
You know, my favorite part of that song was when he shouted out LL because I was like, yes, of
Yeah.
course he's an LL fan. I always
I mean,
liked it.
everybody's an LL
I always
fan. Cool
liked it
D
when
is probably an LL fan.
I always like it when my favorites like each other, you know?
Other. Although I remember reading somewhere that like LL had beef with Tupac at some point.
LL was like
Who the hell knows?
LL was like, "You're not gonna be on my beef corner, man. You're gonna out beef me."
That's right.
So number 2 for me was California Love, but the single version, the one that was the video version, though the video actually had both versions in it, just depending, like,
Right.
there was, like, a extended cut of the video but, yeah, I mean, California Love, if you go anywhere and there's music, so wedding, bar, you hear that California, and everyone like they just look up, they kind of look at each other, and they just like, okay, we're in for a good time. Like this is what it's about. There's not many songs in the history of music that can make people do that. Like it's
Right.
just it's the jump off of that song is just incredible. And yeah, it's you can kind of also tell Like, it's like one of those things when you hear that song and you look around and you see whose ears perked up, you're like, "Okay, they're cool. They're cool. I'm with them."
It's how you know who the real ones are.
Yeah.
My number two is I Get Around. Um, I Get Around came out. So I graduated high school in 1993,
Mhm.
and I Get Around came out that summer, and it was all the stuff that, like, in my imagination, I saw myself doing, like
Yeah.
hanging out with a bunch of friends, having fun, like,
Shirt
whatever.
off.
Yeah, yeah, but I was not doing that in the summer of 1993. So it was aspirational from that respect, but it's just like a fun, like lighthearted party song, very much in the vein of Digital Underground
Mhm.
than in the vein of what you knew Tupac as. Um, it really interesting, and I just thought about this as we were talking. I Get Around and Big Papa are based on the same song, Between the Sheets by the Isley Brothers.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So I wonder if that factored in, to any beef as well.
What song hit street first?
I Get Around came out a year before Big
Yeah,
Papa
okay.
did.
That's
Yeah,
right.
like a year and a half before Big Papa did.
Yeah.
Um, so interesting thing there. But yeah, I Get Around is just like it's you throw that on, you bring the barbecue gear out, you go to the beat, like it's just one of those like fun summer songs.
Shock G, man. The one who put the
That's
satin
right.
on the panties.
Yes, that's right. And you're right about the simplicity of the lyrics. Like I know that more some of my friends who are like more like hip hop purists, like, yo, this dude can't rap. He's like some loose lip sync ships, like whatever. And
Mhm.
that's such like a bad rhyme.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I don't know.
Loose
It
lips
fits in with
sink
some,
ships. It's a trip.
right. Yes, exactly. Like, you know, if you were looking for top tier lyricism, that was not the spot you wanted to go to. And truthfully, like I would not consider Tupac like an A tier rapper. Um, but that
He
line I think got clowned on a little bit.
Yeah, he didn't seem to necessarily like, he wasn't trying to be Rakim.
Right,
He was trying to be, um I don't know who in hip hop he was trying to be, but there was this, like, external thing with who he was portraying. But it was clear, and maybe this gets back to the acting thing, like, it was clear there was a distinction, like, whatever this thug life version of himself, maybe this is Bishop and this is me, but
right,
being me is way more traumatic, and I have to think about all of these things in my life that really, really suck, including having to pay for everybody coming out of the woodwork just because I am somewhat of a success, and then
right.
because of that, having no money. So
Money, right,
to go into the bishopness of his character, I'm sure was an escape thing for him, and I completely get it, but yeah, like if he wanted to be Rakim, I don't think he could have been Rakim. So it's like if I can't be Rakim, I might as well be something that isn't really created yet, that hasn't really existed yet. And in that sense, in that vision of that character, yeah, he could rhyme, but the some of the words that he was actually spitting, it was that was like secondary to how he was saying those things.
right. Yeah, for Tupac, as a hip hop fan, to me, for Tupac, it wasn't necessarily like his rhyme patterns, but the emotion of what he was saying when he
Hmm.
was rapping.
Yeah, and I think that's why my number one song to this day is still "I Ain't Mad at You." It like you couldn't make this up. This man dies. "I Ain't Mad at You," I think comes out the next week as the last single off of that album. In the video, my man comes out of the movie theater or something, gets shot, goes to heaven, and is hanging out with like
Jimi
people,
Hendrix
celebrities who
and
had passed away. Now,
passed away.
these weren't the best, the best celebrity, uh, remakes of people, but you understood what was going on,
Right.
and like that coming out, like you know, he foreshadowed his own death or whatever the whatever people want to say. But the
Yeah,
fact
dude.
that that happened like it did is insane. Like
It's
it's
so eerie.
yeah.
Yeah, it is so eerie. Just thinking about, the Makaveli album, the I Ain't Mad at You video, like, again, conspiracy theory brain.
Hmm.
But for all of that to have been a coincidence, like, it's just a hell of a coincidence.
Now, before we get to your number one, I want to mention a couple of songs that I had close.
Okay.
Brenda's Got a Baby, got to mention that. It is iconic in the storytelling for him. So Many Tears
Yeah, that's a good
from
one.
Me
Me
Against the
Against the World.
World,
Yeah.
just his flow and the huskiness of his voice in that song is awesome. Got My Mind Made Up. If you are of the opinion of does the Rakim version of Tupac exist, this is kind of where you would want to go to from a rhyme capacity for him. It's again Method Man and Redman, and I think Inspect a Deck was actually taken off of the song, except for the very end of it where they put him at the end. But like this is something where you're like, okay, he can actually be on a song with these other guys. Um, there's the very memorable line, "Thugged out, forgive me, Janet," where he mentions the Janet Jackson thing, which
Right.
is kind of a flex, by the way. Like no one else is like hanging out with Janet Jackson like
Right.
in hip hop at that time. Q-Tip after that, but
Yes. Yes.
at that time. So
Yeah.
um
I mean, that was like, I think, an iron sharpens iron kind of thing.
and then
Where,
of
like,
course, How Do You Want It, which becomes a giant strip club song.
right.
And then Me and My Girlfriend, which Jay-Z and Beyonce redid many years later.
As did Tony Braxton, as did Mariah Carey. Yeah. The
But
song has
the
lived a long life.
I mean, it was a very smart idea with the example of the gun and the girlfriend, as his part. What the just the way that he put that story together was very smartly done, and I think
Right.
memorable for a lot of people.
Right.
All right, what is your number one?
My number one is "Keep Your Head Up."
There you go.
It was the first first piece of Tupac music I ever bought. I bought the cassette single for "Keep Your Head Up," and I played that song out just because, again, it's an inspirational song, like, it's a real song. Um, it's just, you know, you're in a bad place, you put that song on, it gives you like a little bit of motivation to kind of get through the day. And I've always, been drawn to and appreciated songs that have that kind of vibe to them. Again, great sample from also a Roger Troutman sample. So, shout out again to Roger Troutman, but just like a beautiful song.
Piece of trivia here. Do you know what Tupac's birth name was?
Oh, can I do this without going to Wikipedia? I think it was Lassane Parish Crooks.
Yep,
Yep.
you got it. The reasoning behind that name is in Jeff Pearlman's book. He explains like how Afeni like picked those three names together. But I
Hmm.
think originally she didn't want him to have a birth certificate because she was like, I don't want him to be like findable, like
Right.
essentially, right?
Right.
So and
Well,
then
and I think she also did not want to be findable.
yeah. And so then
So,
she then changed his name about a month after he was born to
right.
what it became. All right,
Right.
quickly. This will be an easier exercise. We'll only go um from Tupacalypse Now through Makaveli. How would you rank the albums?
From Tupacalypse Now through Makaveli.
Yes.
So, Me Against the World, All Eyes on Me, Makaveli, Strictly, Tupacalypse Now.
This is exactly what I had.
Oh, all right.
Exactly. There was a point where I was like, do I like Tupacalypse Now better? But then Strictly. But then when I went through and I found out that three of my favorite Tupac songs ever is on
On that
Strictly.
same
So
album. Yeah. I mean, Me
It's,
Against the
that
World to
album
me.
is
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, as in Me Against the World to me is the only Tupac album you need to have that is not like a greatest hits.
Yeah, for sure. The, the Strictly album is very uneven,
Yeah,
and there's some talks about, like, how kind of unfocused he may have been during that time, but he was really bummed out that Tupacalypse Now did not really gain much traction when it
right,
came out, so he was changing some things, but, the story behind Me Against the World, how that album was put out is kind of crazy too because he was in jail. What and so his input as far as how the thing was put together, what goes where, what songs are gonna make the cut, like, was very minimal, and I think he actually asked Idi Amin maybe to, like, help him out with that and, like, go and work with the record label to actually put out the finished version. So he may have even made some actual decisions on, final decisions on what made that album. So it was really interesting to think about how that thing is done while the dude is in jail.
right. Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely.
all right. Well, this has been a fun one. We'll be back with the next album next week, but we're cooking through this thing, man.
We are.
50for50.net, and I'm amazed, by the way, that for such small number of YouTube subscribers we have, and again, hit that subscribe so we can get those up. That some of these videos are actually doing decent numbers,
Yeah,
including the short that we put out. We'll put out some more shorts when we have more content that I consider to be kind of like current content. I have some ideas. We just have to find the time to put them together. But
right.
anyways, all right. That is
We will
gonna
get
be it.
there.
That is gonna be it from here. Uh Mike, I appreciate you.
Likewise.
I hope you have an idea how much I appreciate you. I think you
I,
do. But
I
if
mean,
you don't, I want you to hear it from my mouth that I appreciate you so much. So
well, the feeling is mutual, man. I mean, like, there's not many people that I can say I've known half my life or
that is
longer.
true. That is
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
Thank you,
you know,
internet.
yes, and you have been consistent. So you are very much appreciated by me. So the feeling is certainly mutual.
All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging with us. We're going all year long. We'll be back next week. For Mike, I'm Double GC. When we see you, peace out.
Peace.